First of all, we got Stephen A in studio, always a good thing. JJ in a pop of color. I don't even know who you are right now. Look very handsome. Mad Dog.
Pleasure.
You know I look forward to every Wednesday.
I know you do.
Because I get
you're
to
my
see
fan.
my guy.
And how about him here for a change? How about him here for a change? No waking up with coffee and a donut out there in that dopey LA studio. He's in New York today, big guy.
I'm in the house. By the way, fix your tie just a little bit there. The Black Widow. What's going on, you? How you doing?
I dyed
Oh,
my
what's
hair.
going on? JJ,
I need a
very
change.
pleased. I'm very pleased. The tie, that's not bad, brother. Not bad. You stepping up. You stepping up. You getting
All right, I talked to you guys yesterday, Mad Dog. I haven't gotten your thoughts on the Celtics. I'll give you the first take.
Something has to be done with the Celtics, all right? You're not going to fire Mazzulla. He probably saved himself with those 3 wins there at the end of the series when he were down 3-0, down 9 in Game 4. They came back, showed a little life. But that performance there the other night where they were awful, all right? He hurt his foot in the first play. Still, that was a very bad performance by them, and I think something needs to be done to shake it up a little bit. Finals last year, they lost. This year, they can't get back to the final. 2 years ago, the Nets beat them. They lost to Cleveland the 1 year. If it was me, I'm not giving Jaylen Brown $300 million. So that is the change I would make. I would change it a little bit, and I know it's not easy to find somebody to replace him. I know that. I'm not naive. Lillard's not coming. But I think they need a little shakeup. Brown out. Celtics 2023.
Why would you not pay him that money?
He's not worth it.
He's not worth it.
No way. No way.
Why? Because there's a 3 next to it? Why is he not worth it?
He's worth $300 million. He's a good player. He's not a great player. He's a good player.
Mad Dog,
Is he better than Booker?
I can't wait for your reactions when the new Supermax contracts come in after the new TV deals.
Yes.
Oh, my God.
Because people are going to look back and be like, Jaylen Brown at $295 was a bargain. That's the truth. That's the truth. He's 26 years old,
Right.
2-time All-Star, 2nd-team All-NBA. He's been to 5 conference finals in his career. There's no perfect player. There isn't. And he still has room to grow, both as a shooter, a playmaker, setting up other players. But this is the going rate for a player of his caliber. This is what it is.
Well,
Look, whenever there's a new wave of contracts, whenever the cap jumps, whether it was 2016 or more recently when the BRI went up, people always have this sticker shock. People had sticker shock last summer with Jalen Brunson. How do you feel about that deal right now?
Right.
How do you feel about that?
Good move.
That's a great point.
Come on.
This is the way contracts go when your sport is growing. And in 5 years, Mad Dog, there's going to be a player that signs for $400-some million, and you're going to be like, oh, he's not worth it. This is the way it's going, man.
Something has to be done with the Celtics, though. You can't bring back the same team. You cannot bring it back. You cannot keep on bringing back the same team. They're going to be the Portland Trailblazers from the 90s if they keep this up.
Well,
you can't bring back the same team year after year without a chance.
Well, a couple of things. Number one, the roster definitely needs to be tweaked to some degree, but that doesn't mean Jaylen Brown and Jason Tatum have to be the ones to go. You've got 2 cornerstones. You got 2 players that are cornerstones of your franchise that are 26 and under. 26 in Jaylen Brown's case, 25 in Jason Tatum's case. I'm not saying that based on his production that he deserves $59 million per year, because I think that's franchise money, but I certainly would understand if the Boston Celtics consider keeping him and keeping it together, because when you got 2 stars that are that young, one averaged 30 this year, one averaged 26 this year, it's hard to let that go. But JJ Redick, even though I'm siding with you on this, you missed something that you could have got at Doggy about. I'm going to do it for you. Doggy.
Yes, sir.
High Heat.
Yeah.
Not just Mad Dog Radio.
High Heat.
3 to 6 p.m. every weekday
Baseball.
on Sirius XM 36. High Heat. MLB Network. Baseball. Let me go down the list because I see a few $300 million contracts, even $400 million contracts, JJ, in here. I ain't hear Mr. High Heat himself complaining about that stuff. So let's go down the list. Mike Trout, $426 million. A problem with that? I didn't hear you complaining about that. Oh, don't speak yet. Mookie Betts. Now, that's a bad brother right there. Mookie Betts is my dude. I mean, that's something special right there. But $365 million. I ain't hear you complaining about that. Aaron Judge just got $360 million for 9 years. You tease me all the time about how my Yankees ain't won the title since 2009. I ain't hear you complaining too much about that. Manny Machado, $0.5 Padres, $350 million. I ain't hear you complaining about that. Francisco Lindor. I love my brother. I love my brother. Como está? I love my brother. But here's the deal.
341.
Okay, here's the
You
deal.
can't take him anywhere.
Listen. 341.
Okay, we get the gist. This was very good by you. I need to hear you respond.
What's up?
Well,
I need to hear you
those
respond to
sports
that.
don't have a salary cap. So if you give Michael Trout $436 million, that doesn't prohibit you from giving Ohtani $500 million. If you give
The owners would say otherwise.
If you give Brown all this money, you have no more money to spend than anybody else. It's the same team that hasn't done anything yet.
No.
What have the Celtics done? They got beat by Golden State, couldn't hold it 2 games to 1 lead, lost.
So is it more, wait, hold on. Is it more about the market?
That's
that
right.
You're mad about what the market dictates, or that Jaylen Brown isn't deserving specifically? Where is your issue?
That team needs to do something.
Okay.
You're not going to get rid of Tatum.
Hold on. Who are you going to get?
Molly, JJ, hold on for a second. You didn't bring up Cap when you talked about it. You said they're not worth it. What have they done?
He said he was not worth it.
He was not
He
worth
does
it.
not
You
deserve
didn't
that
bring
money.
it. Don't bring it up
You
now.
said.
You didn't bring it
I'm
up
not
before.
bringing it up now.
Not right now. No.
You just brought it up.
Excuse me. The man has been to 5 conference finals. I gave you players we can't even sniff in September. They're nowhere to be found. And they're making $300+ million. I'm saying to you, they're not getting it done. They're not winning. You didn't bring that up when it came to
You
them.
want to bring back the same team that just laid an egg against the Miami Heat, who lost 6 games at home in the postseason?
They're the same team.
That's who you want to bring back.
They're the same team that was in the finals last year.
And lost.
I understand
the
that.
Boston Celtics don't give out rings for losers.
When I just finished saying loser, that's what they're losers now. That's what they're losers now because they get
They got 18 rings. They don't give out the bands, the batters.
I gave you 5 players. I gave you. I got more, but I gave you 5 players in baseball. You can't. I mean, half of them you can't even sniff in September.
Okay.
You don't know where they are.
All right. That was good debating tactic by you, Stephen A. I want to hear from JJ.
Well, one thing, in Mad Dog's defense a little bit, when you bring up the baseball contracts, you're talking about total value. You're not talking about AAV. Right. The baseball contracts have 8, 9, 10 years attached. We're talking about a 5-year contract. Could you imagine, by the way, how mad you'd be if we could sign 8-year contracts in the NBA?
God,
you'd be so mad.
What's the max 5?
You'd be so mad.
Is the max 5?
I want to address one thing with you.
Is it max? Is the max 5? You're the expert.
5.
All right,
yeah. 4 if you go sign with another team. 5.
5 is that what it is?
I want to address.
It's not the money so much.
Hold on.
With the average contract.
I just want to address something you just said, though.
What's that?
Because I respect. We've talked about this before. You and I come from different eras. We think about things differently. I've always told you I respect.
We have kumbaya.
Hold on.
I agree.
I respect your game. I respect your opinion. But what you just said, he's never done anything. He's never won. It's everything that is wrong about sports discourse right now. He's one of the best players in the NBA. One of probably the 20 or 25 best players in the NBA.
That is accurate.
The best players in the NBA. The best players in the NBA have an outsized impact relative to the average NBA player. They do, and Jaylen Brown's one of those guys, and he deserves the money. That's
and
a fact.
You just said with a straight face, you'd have to think about whether or not he's a top 25 player in the NBA.
You want me to
top
list
25?
You want me to list them?
In 5 years, 3 trips to the Eastern Conference Finals, 1 year to the Finals, right? I just want to get accurate.
Top of my head.
His first year.
In his starting year. I was just saying, since they've been starters, right? It's been 3 to the Eastern Conference, 1 to the Finals, and 1 year he was injured.
Since Tatum got there, 4 conference finals.
Yeah.
Jaylen Brown's rookie year, they made the conference finals as well in 2016, 2017.
Yeah.
And then
you want me to list them?
Hold on.
So always deep in the postseason
this
is my
man is
point.
saying that in the top of his head, he's going to come up with
Yeah,
Okay, let's do it.
Go
ahead.
Yeah.
Okay.
Go ahead.
Embiid.
Go ahead. We ain't going to debate. Go ahead.
Tatum. Giannis. Booker. Lillard. Jokic. Murray. LeBron. Anthony Davis. Anthony Davis is better than Jaylen Brown.
Go ahead.
Don't go.
Go ahead.
Don't
go ahead.
Don't you go there.
Go ahead.
That's not fair.
I don't have the
That's
number.
not
I don't
fair.
have the number count.
I'm thinking about games. Just keep going. Just keep going.
Don't
go to your list.
Let me finish.
Go ahead then.
Jokic in Dallas.
Luka Doncic.
Luka Doncic. You love the European name. Wait, I don't have what number we're at.
What? Go ahead.
Dodgers. I'm going to let me finish.
I need to keep track.
All right. Embiid, Tatum, Giannis, Booker, Lillard, Jokic, and Doncic.
Okay.
Yeah, how many
That's
is that?
7.
Go ahead.
Butler.
You've named 10. I've
Butler.
kept track.
8.
Okay.
You're at 11.
8.
You
it's 11?
said Jamal Murray, LeBron, AD,
Okay, I'm 11.
You're at 11.
Durant.
Go ahead.
All right.
B.I. Ingram. He's a better player than Brown. I'm sorry.
Who? Brandon?
Ingram.
Brandon Mann.
Doesn't have the resume.
Doesn't have the resume.
But I'm not.
Right now, I'll give you right now, next 5 years. Who do you want on your team?
Excuse me.
20, right?
I'm not sure about that.
He's not going to get to 25. That's
What
the
are we
reality.
at right
He's not
now?
25.
You don't think
said
you
20.
love Ingram? You think Ingram's
Where-
I love Ingram, but
You
if
love-
B.I.'s your 12th guy on your list, I'm just saying you're not going to get to
the
25.
Oklahoma City guard.
Keep
better
going.
player.
Keep going. Don't buy time. Don't buy
I'm
time.
not buying it. The Oklahoma City guard.
I got him down.
Okay.
Shea Gilgeous-Alexander.
Okay. All right, hold on. This is what we're going to do. We're going to pause for a second.
Curry.
No, hold on.
You can come up with your list.
Mad Dog.
Curry.
Mad
That's
Dog.
14. I'm getting
Mad
close.
Dog, I need eye contact. We're on national television. You work on the little list.
Okay.
I want numbers. You said 20. We'll see if we get there, even if it takes during the
All right,
commercial
I'll
break.
do that.
You work on that.
Yeah, too much time.
In the meantime, I want to know from you, what should the Celtics do going forward, JJ, to get over that hump and win the chip?
Yeah. I'll kind of repeat what I said yesterday, but I want to emphasize something that I said yesterday because there were some Boston fans that sort of misconstrued what I said.
Okay.
I said yesterday, I think this group has reached its ceiling. That's not to say that Tatum and Brown have reached their ceiling. That's not to say specifically Robert Williams. He, to me, hasn't reached his ceiling. And to me, he's a big key for their future. I thought he should have played more in the playoffs at times. I know it's been reported he was sick in Game 7 and throwing up. That's why he only played 13 or 14 minutes. But his ability to be a lob threat, play pick and roll with Tatum, I keep saying this, Tatum and Brown, they need somebody to play two-man game with them. I would also look at trying to add a downhill guard, even if that's through a trade. I would keep Joe Mazzulla, but I would absolutely bring these guys back. Here's the issue, Mad Dog, that I think, and this is fundamentally what I believe about team building. When you're really close, you're that close to a lucky break. You're that close to a ball bouncing the wrong way. You're that close to an ankle sprain. You're that close from an all-time performance by Steph Curry in Game 4 in the Garden. You're that close to a championship. You get rid of him, guess what? You're not that close.
You can make that argument, but you cannot continue.
I just did make that argument.
You can't continue in professional sports. You cannot continue to bring back the same team without tweaking it over and over and over again that hasn't won a championship.
I'm saying you have to take a hard look at the ancillary pieces this summer.
That's
what
not
I'm
going to change
saying.
it. You got to change the dynamic of the team a little bit. And doing that with Brown and Tatum, I'm not getting rid of Tatum. Doing that with Brown and Tatum is the way to do it.
Well, I think you have to ask yourself, what can you get in return if you were to lose
Well,
somebody
that's fair.
like
That's
Jaylen
what I
Brown?
asked earlier.
And so the fact of the matter is the options appear to be better. Coaches matter for a reason. If you've got to figure out how they can play better together, I'm of the mindset that I have no problem with Jaylen Brown being gone, as I said to JJ yesterday. If Jaylen Brown wants to be gone because he's determined to be the number one primary option, and it's an untenable situation. That's not the impression that we've gotten. We've talked about how there have been reports out there about that, but I've never heard that from Jaylen Brown. You've never heard that from Jaylen Brown. The bottom line is that if you want to go somewhere to be the number one option and you don't feel you should play second fiddle to Jason Tatum, that to me is the primary condition under which you look to move Jaylen Brown. If that's not the case, you try to keep him, and I think you tweak, you modify it to some degree. I think Adam Malcolm Brogdon last year was a plus. You've got some pieces that you can trade to get that downhill point guard that you talked about.
Mad Dog, history guy. You're the greatest historian of NBA basketball. Actually, you're a better historian of the NHL. But how old was Steph when he won his first championship? You know, off the top of your head?
Well, it was about, 8 years ago? So it's about 26.
27.
Okay.
LeBron, 27. MJ, 28. How old are these two guys?
Yeah, but
26 and 25.
what makes you think,
You guys are
though,
really going for
that
the
this
jugular today.
team that hasn't won it yet in a very dangerous league, in a conference that's tricky, is going to get over the hump?
Well, you're missing,
Where is the evidence?
You're missing the point of
I know,
what I'm saying.
age, experience.
Well,
No, you're
Tatum was
missing
hurt
you're
in
missing
Game
what I
7.
said prior.
They would have lost anyway. They were
How do
lousy.
you
They got
know?
other guys on the team.
He got hurt right
Oh,
away. He limped through the whole
How
thing.
about the first two games of that series when they lost
No,
at
but I'm
home? What
talking
guys should do
about
with those 2
Game
games?
7. We'd be having a different conversation if Tatum didn't get hurt. You don't think so?
Oh, no, I don't.
How about
Miami was going to win that game?
If you're going to bring up the fact that they lost their first 2 home games and 3 or 4 home games in this series, by the way,
They
and
were
being a
fluky.
500 team on the road on their home turf over the last 2 postseasons, Why not bring up the fact that they overcame an 0-3 deficit and pushed it to a Game 7? They deserve credit for that as well.
Do you remember the?
You cared.
Do you remember the 51 Knicks?
Oh, my Lord.
Stephen A., they were favored, though. I mean, they're.
Do you remember the Maverick? Do you remember the Trailblazers in 03?
Yes.
That 3-0 down and won the next 3 games?
Yes.
How about the Nuggets of 95 who lost Game 7?
All right, I'm going to move on soon. So let's
I got the
let's
20
make
players.
our final comments.
I got the
you want to
20.
do your 20 players?
Go ahead.
All right, let's do it.
Hurry up. I don't think I know the 20 players.
Hurry up.
You said
Well,
25.
we got a full
Don't you?
stage.
You said 25.
Okay.
Back me up.
Let's go.
Go ahead.
Right on top.
I'm counting.
Durant,
Yeah.
Curry, Embiid, Tatum, Giannis, Booker, Lillard, Jokic, Doncic, Butler, the OKC kid, what's his name?
Shai Gilgeous-Alexander.
Gilgeous-Alexander.
Murray, Donovan Mitchell, Kawhi, George.
Oh, my God.
Kawhi is better than. That's not fair. That's not fair.
You guys
Keep
can't-
going. Let him finish.
Keep
going.
That's not fair.
Finish your list.
George.
I'm not sure. You said Paul George?
Can you
Yes.
guys let him finish?
Morant, LeBron, AD, Anthony Edwards, and one of my all-time favorites, Kyrie.
You put Kyrie Irving on the list. It's so full of it. That is not a genuine list. That is not a genuine list. That is not a genuine list. You just did it to get the 20. You saw that. He just did it to get the 20. That's all he did.
Anthony Edwards with conviction, and you know it. You said
you didn't say
Anthony
Edwards with
a
conviction.
little smirk.
You certainly didn't say Kyrie with conviction.
I gave you Kyrie.
Listen, you are you cannot have.
Stephen,
I
what
didn't
do you
give you a
think?
hard
I can
one.
have
I'm gonna give
Kyrie
you a
on my
hard
list
one.
before you
Hold
have
on.
Kyrie on your
Seriously,
list.
what do you think of that list, though?
I think it's suspect.
What names do you disagree
I think Jimmy
with?
Butler is questionable because you got to take into account the regular season.
Jimmy Butler?
What are you, nuts?
Let me say it again. I'm not stuttering. Jimmy Butler, during the playoffs, you can sit up there and bring that up. That's fine. I'm taking into account in the entire season. I understand the impact that Jimmy Butler has. I think Jimmy Butler's a stud, but I also think Jaylen Brown is a stud. I think that's debatable. I don't think that Paul George deserves to be on the list ahead of Jaylen Brown. I don't believe that. I don't believe that Paul George deserves to be on the list ahead of Jaylen Brown. I do not.
So
I do
not.
So you take issue with about 2 or 3
How
names
about
on the
Thompson?
list.
I didn't even give you Thompson. How about him?
All right. Mad Dog, I just want to say one thing. Can I say one thing?
Yes, you may.
This entire conversation started because I said he was a top 20 to 25 player, which means he's not ninth. He's in the 20 to 25 range.
Yes.
You've named 20 really good players, but you are the absolute worst. The fact that you put Kawhi, Paul George, and Kyrie on that list ahead of Jaylen Brown, when all you do is complain about their availability, stop it, man.
That's right.
I'm not debating whether Hold on. I'm not debating whether or not those guys are more talented than Jaylen Brown, but Jaylen Brown plays. Jaylen Brown's available. You can't have it both ways, buddy.
In a game,
And I think all those players deserve consideration. I'm not trying to throw shade on any of those players, but I'm taking into account availability. I'm taking into account that Jaylen Brown does play on both ends of the floor. Okay. I'm taking into account the fact that the brother's been averaging over 23 a game for years.
Did you see the 8 turnovers the other day?
Yeah, it was.
How was that performance?
Bravo.
That was bad.
You know what, Mad Dog? This is the best debate we've had on First Take all week.
I could give you 5 or 6 more if you give me a chance to think about it.
That was a good debate.
Thanks for watching ESPN on YouTube. For live streaming, sports, and premium content, subscribe to ESPN+.